Hello and welcome, everyone. It's Ariana Rollins. I just want to check, is my sound okay? Is everybody, you can type in the chat bar and let me know if the sound's okay. Can you see me? You see the slides? Great, great. Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Karen. Thanks. Perfect. So what's your name and where are you calling from? Great, Audra. Thank you. Audra, you called in a little early. I saw. I was trying to do a practice one, and I saw 972. That's Texas. Welcome. Okay, super. Thank you. This is Karen's dad in the UK, Ken Hart. Fabulous. Welcome. So if you'd like to unmute your line and you do want to say hello, I believe it's *6 to do that. Oh, you work together. How fabulous. You had a nice British dad. So did I. He unfortunately passed, but he was a wonderful, wonderful human. Super empowering. All right, so while we're waiting for others to join us, please grab a piece of paper and pencil and pen, and you can make some notes as we go along, and I'll be asking you some deep questions. You might want to write them down. And we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. I am so happy that you came to this event. I woke up this morning. I was all excited to share this. It was like all these friends are going to come and gather, and I can share one of the things that's so meaningful that I believe by the end of this webinar you're going to feel finally there's a solution for things that have been stopping you, blocking you, a way to solve problems. So for those of you who are new to working with the unconscious mind, this is going to be an experience of mind expansion and heart opening. Well, at least I hope so for you. For those of you who have been with us before, this is a beautiful new journey. And for everyone, we're going to be sharing a path of transforming your life. So one of the truths that I most deeply believe is that everything in life, everything is energy. Within every one of us is the energy that makes the sun rise, keeps the planets aligned, causes, plants to grow that we can eat. It's there. Now, this energy is already inside of you. It's waiting for you to know it. And when you tap into your connection with that source, that miraculous energy that makes the sun rise, then what happens is that the universe rises up to meet you in unimaginable ways and will help you create the life that you want. So, are you ready? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the content for today. Okay, we're going to be covering some really important subjects. And if you have to leave early, I fully understand, but I do hope you can stay to the end because I'm going to share with you how you can get your blocker clearing PDF. And it's a way to clear blockers without having any other training, just a piece of paper, you in the privacy of your own home. It's not about learning more. It's really more about you releasing what is not you, so your brilliance shines. You arrived on earth perfect. Let's get you experiencing that perfection and more. So we'll be talking about how you can make this time count the most. I'll give you some tips on how to pay attention to what you're taking in without waking your blockers up. And then we'll be talking a bit about the School of Self-Revolution and me. And topic 3 is how blockers can manipulate you and our 3 biggest worries, or at least most of us have these worries, and how you can identify your blocks to manifesting. We'll talk about a path to re-empowerment, and then we'll go into the content of what we do in the highest potential curriculum. And then topic 8, it's your turn. And then topic 9, you'll get access to the gift, the blocker clearing process, and then we'll take some time to answer some questions. Yes, so am I, Amber. I'm so excited, too. Spanaway. I don't know where that is. That sounds like a really fabulous name for a place. All right, so let's make this time for you count. Connect with why you're here. Maybe you're having some challenges making the money you'd like. Maybe that's your reason. or you're in a life situation that you're just stressed and worried all the time and just your energy is dragged down, or you'd like to rekindle the passion in your intimate relationship, or it could be something else. So I'd like you to type in here why you're here, or at least write on a piece of paper, because that's going to bring greater importance for this next 90 minutes we're spending together. You're saying, this is why I'm here, this is why I'm doing it. Because a lot of times we just kind of float along and we get into things and maybe valuable, maybe not. But if you are passionate about why you're here, you're going to get a lot more out of today. One of the things that I want to kind of alert you to, some of the things I'm going to be talking to you about may alert different beliefs that you have. And those beliefs may be right, or they may be holding you back. They may be what we would call a blocker. So I'd like you to suspend your judgment for just a moment. Write it on a piece of paper if you're arguing with me, or speak up if you want to ask me a question, please. But just be aware that when something comes across your life that's so significant, so meaningful, has the potential of changing your life, well, those parts of you that don't want to change are going to wake up and they're going to talk. So just be aware of that. Okay, to eliminate blockers, wonderful. Anybody else here? Okay, great. I think, yep. All right, super. Now, if you've been working on a goal for more than 90 days and you aren't seeing significant progress, that says there's something in the way. And it's not the person you live with, it's not your boss, it's not your dog. It's very close to home. It's actually inside of you. Your unconscious mind holds contradictory intentions, and a part of you wants that goal to manifest. You want to be successful, but there are parts of you that are just okay with the status quo. They don't need to change anything, because change they're not really comfortable with. And those are the parts that are kind of battling you, and it creates this contradiction. So we're going to be talking a lot about that, how to spot them, and most importantly, how to clear them. You want to find significant other. Wonderful. I want to clear my always stressed mind. Yeah, yep. I think a lot of people can relate with that. Almost like having the benefit of meditation without having to go through the difficulty in training your mind to be meditative. So let's talk about a little bit about the School of Self-Revolution. In many ways, I was kind of a failed student of CT and what some people call the law of attraction. And I was determined. I had a very important objective that I was working on, and I didn't know how to do it. So I pulled things together that I thought would be helpful. And I found this missing link to making the law of attraction effective and workable. And it's not like what you think. It's very different in terms of not just simply visualization, but it's actually bringing it into your body and activating those parts of you and the parts of the universe outside that know how to accomplish. So I would really say that cybernetic transposition, you'll learn more about what that is in a moment, really can be seen as a missing link. I've been teaching CT, got licensed and certified back in 2005. So that's been 12 years now. And some people have said I've got pretty good intuition. And they say that I'm really good at helping them figure out what's blocking them, which can be useful, especially in a program like this. I have an ability also to tune people to what they really want and support them in manifesting it. Because a lot of us set goals and intentions based on our shoulds. And that's not what this School of Self-Revolution is about at all. It's about you setting things that are most meaningful to you and succeeding at them. I was also told by someone that I'm kind of this combination of Eckhart Tolle, he's the gentleman who wrote The Power of Now, and Tony Robbins. And he was saying that I help people manifest from a real kind of peaceful place without pressuring and just do it kind of thing. So let's go into a little bit more about my rebel part. I'm a founder of School of Self-Revolution, and I'm most passionate about you being able to change the things you want to change, solve the problems you want to solve, and create a life of your own choosing. Something few people know about me is at 16, I withdrew from high school. I didn't fit in, couldn't stand it, and they weren't teaching me anything that I saw was valuable. Now, I won't leave you wondering. I did finish my education at a top-notch university back east in the United States, where I learned algebra for the first time, and I don't recommend that to anyone. That was stressful. The other thing that few people know about me is that I home-birthed and homeschooled my son. Are you starting to see a theme here and maybe why I started the School of Self-Revolution? I don't want you to settle. I want you to create a life of your own choosing. Let's see here. Great accolade. Okay. And, welcome, Julie. I just saw you there. Super. Okay, so for those of you who don't know anything about CT, let's talk a little bit about the magic in our curriculum, in the highest potential curriculum in the School of Self-Revolution. Now, it's an odd title. I can't tell you how many people find out about the School of Self-Revolution and they're interested. And then I say, this is where it all came from. This book started it all. How to get lots of money for anything fast. It's kind of the CT textbook. Its foundation began as a method to help people get money because a lot of times there might be an inventor, you might have a business idea you want to get started, and there are venture capitalists out there who want to invest money. So that's how it started. But really, it's now expanded to be able to be used to get anything fast, whether your need is money or it's love or peace of mind. And if you don't already have the book, I highly recommend it. It's great. Very, very valuable. So we've learned from neuroscience that specific brain regions manage different functions. And there are areas that take in our impressions, our senses, our five senses. We have our emotions. We have the ability to use our body to take action for what we want. And when all of those are harmonized to be present in this moment, you're aligned. And with alignment, you are unstoppable. And cybernetic transposition, also called CT, directly affects those centers, which is why students of CT state that within a few minutes of their first blocker clearing, they experience physical changes, such as a deep relaxation. They feel a lightness of being. Now, I'm sure this reduction in stress response positively influences our physical health as well. So using CT in this way, you're able to awaken dormant skills and abilities that maybe you have forgotten about or you haven't even tapped into in this particular life. And it enables you to be a more confident, empowered self. And right now within you is a wellspring of deep, quiet, beautiful energy. And when you unleash it, it will begin to shape your intentions, shape your thoughts, and especially your actions to be successful, to be productive. Now, for centuries, this road to our inner world and its gifts has been through meditation. Now, you can get the benefits of meditation through working with CT, which allows you to access your hidden capacities and do it from a calm and peaceful place. All right, let me just check here. Let's see. Oh, Amber homeschools her two children as well. Wonderful. And Lenka, I feel like there are a few blocks that are stopping me from moving forward towards my dreams. We all have them, Lenka. I'm sure that we do. And, the idea is not to be blocker free by the time we leave this lifetime, but just that we're clear enough blockers so that we experience the fulfillment that we want and the success that we want. So you may wonder how CT works. Well, there's a story of a young woman who she emailed me a few months ago, and she was asking me, she says, I've used CT to get back my boyfriend after we broke up, and it worked. I said, wow, great. And then she says, then we broke up again, and I did it again, and it worked. So she's like, how does this work? Are we modifying things? Are we I guess, touching and manipulating the world? Not really. What we're doing here is we are all interconnected. We know this, right? And my current understanding of how CT works and how it can help you accomplish things is that it gives you access to your inner body. And what I mean by that is inside you is calmness. And when you access this calmness, you're able to think more clearly. And as a result, you have access to your intuition, and you can take immediate action when a knowing arises. You're not wasting time. You ever seen someone attract a fabulous opportunity only to question themselves so much so they don't take it up? And maybe they lose this fabulous connection with the prospect, or they don't take advantage of the job opportunity they've just been offered because they think they're not equipped, or the love of their life moves on because they're not ready and they don't say yes to the date. It's almost like you see a disconnect if you've ever watched someone in a situation like that and you see them messing it up. They can't see it, but you see it. There's a clue there. We can often see other people's blockers. Not so easy to see our own, until now, that is. So that from that place of calmness, you trust your senses, you take decisions, and they're successful. And then from this place, it literally attracts your desires, whether it's people, experiences, things, whatever it is you're aligned to have. Since we're all connected with humans, with other humans, I believe through the heart, when we make a wish, others hear. And if it's right for them, they respond. Unless you've got a blocker running, then they may not respond. So it's really, I hope you're starting to see, it's all about you. When you clear the blockers, those people that are right to be in your business or in your life naturally draw near. And then you notice more and more synchronicity happening. You'll begin to trust life more. All right, let me see here. We got Homero, welcome, and Tom. Does a clear in Scientology still have blockers? I'm not really familiar with Scientology, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. It's clearing the emotional energy or the thoughts or the behaviors, because sometimes we could have a habit that causes us to eat donuts on the way to work because we really can't stand our job. And so this habit could make us feel really comfortable. We're feeling uplifted from the sugar high, but then the habit builds on extra weight. So this thought, I need to be reducing my stress because I don't like my job, has now brought in a habit of eating a donut, and it's temporarily comforting, but it's long-term sabotaging because it's impacting our putting on weight, and we've got, now not feeling so good. Our clothes aren't very tight. So blockers could be thoughts, they could be feelings, like emotional expression, or it could be an actual, an action that you're taking, a behavior. Let's see. How to identify hidden blockers? Jose, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to give you a quick exercise. And Ganka, the half of what you are saying is not heard. So Julia, you can hear me? Maybe, Ganka, it's your connection? Okay, you're suggesting Ganka sign out. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So everybody can hear me. All right, thank you, Julia. Great. All right. So how blockers manipulate us, manipulate you and me. They like black and white. It's either all this or all that. Now let's talk about something you're probably already familiar with, the law of attraction, and the famous movie The Secret really brought that out for all of us to understand, the power of visualization and the power of what we're thinking about and what we're projecting out there. For some people who already have an inner success team, the law of attraction can be effective, and it can produce consistent results. Now, for some of us who've had defeats, maybe we've got some hurts buried, or maybe we carry a fear that, whatever happened in the past may happen again. Those fears instill preventions, and it creates blockages, so we're kind of fighting ourselves. It blocks our manifesting ability simply because we don't trust we can do it better this time. So what does someone do with their amazing dream when they're hit with a blocker that reminds them of a past experience, a failure? Well, they learn how to clear, first how to sense the blocker, and I'll give you a little clue right now. When you are feeling anything, and this is not a joke, this is really serious, when you're feeling anything other than joy, harmony, upliftment, and connection with others, you've got a blocker running. Seriously. That has been proven to me over and over and over again. So clearing the energetic blockers, one of the ways is to first track it down. And if you start to feel like maybe all of a sudden you're feeling this pain in your chest right when you're about to make a very important speech, maybe your shortness of breath, or you've got a piercing pain in your temples, those are what we would call blocker body feelings. They are communications from your unconscious mind. And if you think about your unconscious mind as your body, and it can communicate with anything that's in your body. It can cause your heart rate to speed up a little bit. It can cause you to feel, a little bit of anxiety. It can cause your digestion to be impacted. And so it works with whatever it has in there. And that can be very useful for us because with the Cybernetic Transposition, you are noticing these changes in your body state and these body feelings. And that becomes the beginning of finding the blocker patterns. So becoming aware of sudden changes, you now have a big clue to how that blocker pattern communicates to you. So at the end of the class today, you'll get access to a PDF, a free-form blocker clearing process. And in that, it's going to talk about body feelings. You'll learn a little bit more about that and how to start to clear blockers. I want that. I know. Isn't that a fabulous photo? Yeah. Amber, I have a lot of blockers I need to clear out. And Hitesh, my eyes, Hitesh, that's good awareness that your eyes start twitching. That definitely sounds like a blocker communication. Yep. Okay, let's see if I covered everything here. Let me give you an example here. Say someone goes on a dating website. They'd like to find a really fabulous partnership. And they attract someone who on paper seems really great, and they're dating and they're enjoying it, and they just really feel this bond and they're connected. So they decide to get married. Well, when commitment happens is when we start to relax. I know you all know this, right? And they start to let their guards down and be themselves. Nothing wrong with that. But what if that part of themselves then starts to activate argument in the other person? The other person's like, you're not who I married. And that's when the blockers come up, when we are in a committed state, especially in relationships. So arguments start, and they think, you didn't do this before we were married. That's not who I married. Why are you doing this? And really what's happening in intimate relationships is when we have our most potential for healing, which is why they're intense, right? So this person attracted their perfect partner. There's no perfection out there, but perfect for them. They get married, and now the work starts. So if they had access to how to clear blockers, they would recognize that they're just being triggered and be able to stay present in that relationship and have perhaps that deep, bonded, long-term marriage that they would really like. So let's talk about how others feel when someone has control of their blockers. So let's say this dating example. that this person had already learned CT, they'd cleared a lot of blockers, and they're really present. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, they accept the other person, they're not trying to change their partner, and they're very grounded and centered in themselves. And likely you've been around someone like that. Does it feel good to be around someone like that, someone who knows themselves? They are not easily triggered, and that you can express, how you're feeling without them getting upset and taking it personally. Have this certain air of confidence about them, grounded, centered. Well, that's an example of someone who's cleared some blockers, whether they've used this or they've used another method. They're really present in who they are, and they have access to that power and capacity. Let's see, some other people trying to, you have felt that, Kenna. Yes, you can draw on their serene aura, Karen. Absolutely. You can, and then you feel better about yourself. Yeah. So that's part of when we clear blockers, that's the side benefit. Yes, we're achieving things. That's why we clear blockers. We want to accomplish our intentions. We want to manifest what we want. And these blockers are coming up to be cleared. Well, the side benefit is, like Karen pointed out, is there is a serenity that starts to happen. Quite fabulous. Who wants that? Anyone? Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Me. Yeah. Great, Homero. Yep. Yes, please. Rasmus. That's a wonderful name, too. Wonderful, unusual names here. Okay, let's go on here. So now I'm going to turn it back to you. Let's talk about some really common three biggest worries, and it might be, one of your worries here on this slide. For most people I talk to, their main aim is to create a freedom lifestyle. And this may mean different things to different people, but basically it means you live life on your terms. And as a rule, making money is paramount to this. And to make money, we need the right job, or we need customers or clients. And in business today, there's a huge emphasis on just kind of push yourself, the Nike logo, just do it. And there's a mindset that keeps us really pushing, hustling 7 days a week, and there's not a lot of off time. Well, when we're in that kind of, that kind of, like, there's no shutting down, that really takes a serious toll on our health. Now, when we're younger, I don't know what your age is, you might have been able to get away with that. But by the time you hit, your 40s or 50s, you have to find another way. That pushing and forcing doesn't work any longer. So when you start to work with your unconscious mind, there creates a harmony. So that goes away, and you're in productive action. Let's see here. Anti-hustle, Karen. Yep, good for you. 73 cannot, or no, who's that? Ken. 73, wonderful. And Ken 54, Karen 43. I love it. Everybody's putting their ages here. Lenka 32, I'm 54, Homera 41, Amber 30 years old, Robbie's 51, great, and Jose's 40, Rasmus 25, he does 37, Desa, I'm not sure if I'm not pronouncing that correct. Daisy maybe. Could be. 47, Audra 46, Near 43. So there's a lot of people in the 40s, prime age. You've forgotten Julia, haha. And Crystal 35, great. All right. So your age can also give you a clue as to how much life experience you've had, obviously. And so when someone starts to change something in their life, if they want to achieve an objective or they want to make a major change, if they've been on a life path for a certain amount of time, maybe 40, 50 years, you can see that you might need some support to make those changes, because it's worked in the past, it'll work again, or so we say. And now you've got access to a way to make those changes. So these three biggest worries, really it takes a mindset shift to move from being, pursuing money for money's sake versus providing value and making connections with others. And I know there's a belief out there that when you do what you love, the money will come. And while that's true, sometimes what can happen is when you're doing what you love, that's when the blockers wake up, because they now have access to your passion, your purpose, your mission. They know what you want. Now, it's not to mean that blockers are kind of like, spying and mean. It's just that they like things to stay the same. They don't like change. It's kind of like a dog has its habits. It goes and smells this tree when you take it for a walk, and it goes and it pees there. And when you move a dog, it takes some adjustment. And it's like that with the unconscious mind. If you're not taking the actions that you'd like to take and experiencing the joyful success, it's just that there are some habits in there. And it only becomes a blocker when it's stopping you from what you want to do today. A lot of habits are really good. We've got the habit of being able to drive a car effortlessly without even thinking. Imagine if you had to learn how to drive a car every single day you drove out of your garage. That would make it really hard, right? So there's a lot of success habits in there. And the only time that a blocker gets activated is when you're trying to change it off its projected path. Okay, so let's see here if I cover everything I want to here. Okay. All right. So here's some common blockers, and I'd like you to take that piece of paper. I asked you to pull it at the beginning and make note of things that are, getting triggered for you. Here's some common blockers. These are beliefs like I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, not smart enough, life's hard, making money's hard, I'm not good with people, I can't just simply start a conversation, nobody would want to work with me. That's especially important for people who are self-employed if you're running an online business or network marketing, because connection with others is kind of make or break, isn't it? So let's bring this back to you. Where are your biggest worries? Because where your biggest worries are where the blockers live. Where are they, have you noticed, where they speak up the most? And we're going to talk about each one of these sections in more detail. Okay. Frustration. Okay. Yes. Yep. I can relate to that. And anyone who's trying to make some changes, we're going to hit some things. Frustration's a common one. So let's dig a bit deeper. Do you feel supported in your intimate relationship? Are you in a relationship maybe where you feel misunderstood, kind of lonely? You've got a dream. You've got something that's very important to you. And you know what you're doing in the end will be successful, but you feel kind of like you're the only one who believes in your dream. If you're trying to grow your own business and you don't feel supported, this can wreak havoc on your self-confidence. When your most intimate loved one doesn't believe in what you're doing and support you no matter what, it will impact your success in that business. And if this is going on for you, you've got my compassion. I had this, and it deeply impacted my business for years until I realized what was going on. So if you're in a committed relationship and you also want to make your business successful, it is possible. You have to just alter your mindset a bit. And here's a mindset shift for you to kind of take away and start applying. So if you're going out on a limb and you're trying something that doesn't make sense to your intimate partner, here's the tip. Don't reveal your ups and downs. Keep your stresses about what's going on in your business, that, you didn't get that prospect, or you didn't close that deal, or whatever it is. I know it's hard because, you want to really share it with your partner. Keep it inside, or, you could share it with a best friend. If you do talk to your husband or wife and complain about how difficult it is and how you aren't being successful, guess what? like most of us, they're going to want to solve your problem. And what would solve that problem immediately? Simple. Stop doing your online business. And that's not the solution you want to hear, is it? And whether they say it out loud, I bet they're thinking about it. So if the kind of support you're getting from your intimate relationship is not helping you in your business, just don't look for it there. Don't. Get it elsewhere. Choose who you share your challenges with. Has this ever happened to anyone? Have you noticed that you go to talk to someone and you feel worse after? That's a clue. That's a clue that not only are your own blockers activated, that the other person is in upset too. And so now you've got double the worry, double trouble kind of thing. And that's not great, because what you need is confidence when you go to your intimate relationship partner. You need to feel good about yourself and good about your life. So again, if you're going out on a limb and you're trying to do something that your partner doesn't understand, just don't share it with them. That's all. I'm going to read the chat bar here. Frustration, need to make money. The pension's on and up. Yep. And Julia, since doing CT, my relationship has improved so much. Oh, the spaceship story. Yeah, I'll share that in just a moment. Great. That's fabulous, Julia. And I know that wasn't your original intent when you took the training. You were joined the training to increase your online business, which you did as well. Amber, it's a great idea. My husband's not in this business and doesn't understand. He's supportive, but exactly, we all want to seek success. And a lot of men, especially if their wife is upset, they want to fix it. So don't share your ups and downs with your husband. Yeah, double blockers. Oh, I know. I have a lot of support, and even convinced my hubby he needs to do CT too. Wonderful, Karen. You're going to like one of the special bonuses that I'm going to be sharing in a minute then, and your husband's going to like it too. In the School of Self-Revolution, when someone's in one of our trainings, we strongly advise don't share the content of your biggest dreams with anyone, actually. I know that may sound counterintuitive, but here's the reason. As much as your loved one or friend wants to support you, they could have their own blockers running, or they may have this niggling fear that if you become successful, you might not want to be friends with them anymore. And also, sadly, recall the expression, misery loves company. I know they're not consciously doing it, but sometimes it happens, and you don't want to get dragged down. So we have a very important part of the curriculum. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. It's in Module 4, where you learn how to deal with other people's jealousy, fear, anger, resentment. And it can come from people when you're succeeding, sad as that is, all without their conscious awareness, of course. And you'll want to shield your dreams from being negatively influenced by them. It's hard enough we're dealing with our own blockers, right? We don't want the thoughts and beliefs of other people. And these thought forms from loved ones, especially when they're emotional, well, they have influence on you. Don't underestimate it. So don't share the ups and downs of your goals. Only reveal when you've succeeded. And then select the people you want to celebrate with carefully. Because if they don't want you to grow and move past them, well, there might be some subtle messages coming from them to you. And again, it's not with conscious intent at all. Let me see, there's some notes here. It's amazing how many friends you lose when you grow and refuse to be miserable with them. Oh, isn't that the truth, Karen? Absolutely. Yeah, you don't need negative friends, no matter how it hurts to end it. Yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of people really have to learn that when they're making their own way in life. Yeah, some people are not coming with you, sad as that may be. And Ken, you don't need Ken said it right. Okay. All right. So, is this possibly where life's taking a toll? Do you feel kind of locked into what you're doing? Maybe you're in a job working full-time and you'd really like to be self-employed, but you feel like you have no choice. Or you're in a business that really you're not passionate about and your heart's not connected to it. I really want you to not skip this question. Really answer it. Where is life taking a toll? Write that down on your paper. Has life stressed you so much you've lost your enthusiasm and joy, your day-to-day enthusiasm? I've been there, and I didn't realize what depression is until I got out of it. And I'm usually a light, uplifted person, and it was really hard. So noticing this is our first step, is becoming aware that we feel dragged down by life. So maybe your life situation is kind of taking a toll on your health. Maybe you have no time for yourself. You need to create better boundaries. Maybe not talk to that best friend about your worries or share a success with someone who happens to have a jealous streak. You need better boundaries. You need, to self-care and balance, which would give you much needed rest and rejuvenation, but you just don't know how to do it. And I know it's so easy for other people to say, unplug, just relax. But when you feel under the gun, so to speak, it's hard to see beyond the day-to-day hustle. So what do? I suggest you write down, this is a quick process, and this is one of the processes I teach in our class around releasing the projects that don't serve you. They're not going to give you what you want. So I'm going to give you a little tip here. Take a piece of paper and write down all that you're committed to. What projects, what people, what situations have you offered to support? Write down everything you can think of. For example, if you like to attend networking events, or take your children to their sports practice, or, make a hot meal for your family every night. Write it all down. It's not to say these projects and commitments aren't right for you, but I want you to get them out on a piece of paper. And you can continue this, after the webinar. Your purpose here is, once you get down all of your commitments, one thing is you're going to be able to read it and say, whoa, no wonder I've got no time for myself. Wow. And you can have some compassion and peacefulness that now I understand why I'm not getting things done. So once you've written them down, wrote down all the things that consume most of your time, you can assess if they're really that important for you to continue, or maybe that you need some help. These things you're doing, do they fit with your overall life vision? If not, let them go. And if it's hard to let them go, like that negative friend that Ken was speaking about, then what does that say? Anybody? Does anybody have a clue if something's hard to let go of and you need to let go of it? You have a blocker up, exactly, and you'll know what to do then. Because if we recognize, wow, this is no longer serving me, I got to release this, and we don't, we're kind of saying, yep, I'm choosing the path of suffering, which we all have a right to do, don't we? Fear. Yeah, fear is definitely a blocker, isn't it, Julia? Let them go. Block them. That's funny, Ken. I like that. Yep. Okay. So let's look at this. Maybe you're having financial difficulties. We've all been there at one point or another, and maybe that's where you are right now. And I think we could all relate. Have you tried working harder and longer hours, and then still the money isn't coming in? You know you need another way, but you kind of feel stuck. And you've done it in the past. And once we've done something that's been successful, there's a momentum behind it. Now, we have to sometimes change how we're doing things. People change, the world changes, and we have to be able to build in adaptability, flexibility. So no matter what you were doing before, it may have been successful. It may not be now. So if you're in this situation right now, one of my tips, best strategies, if this is happening and you're really suffering with this, is take a look at where you're giving your time and money. Are there things that seemed like they would help and they haven't delivered? I'll give an example. So it was a few years ago. There is a Chamber of Commerce where I live in the San Diego area, and I started to attend the Chamber of Commerce meetings. I thought people are saying, you're in business for yourself. Networking is a great way to, grow your contact base and make connections, get new customers. Well, I was in this networking organization for quite a long time. I rose to be the chairman of one of their committees, the Business Resource Committee, met some kind people, and I loved being in the leadership of, the monthly meetings. That was a wonderful learning and exercise. But I never got one customer, never got one client. And it was an investment. When you're part of networking, often you have to pay for lunches. You have to pay to actually be there. So looking at that one day, I said, you know what? This is not serving my purpose. My purpose is, if I want to spend time with friends, great, go to lunch with a friend and spend my money there. I'm spending money to go to a networking event that's not furthering my business. So look at where you are giving your time and money. So not only was that networking event costing me, it was costing me time and energy where I could have put it somewhere else. And then, we've talked about blockers, and you know that where you are putting your time and money may have blockers associated with it. There may be some sabotage in there, like I had it with the Chamber of Commerce. I really loved the group of people, but I would come home from those events. I'd be discouraged. No one gets what I'm talking about, I would say. There must be something wrong with me. Well, perhaps it was my audience, and it clearly was. So spend time around people who get you. So back to this little exercise here. So if you're looking at where you're putting your money and time, is it fulfilling to you? Is it getting the outcome you want? Is it aligned with your life vision? If not, let it go, right? And maybe one thing is taking the hard stance of making a budget and only putting in what truly supports you and your family. Your integrity will elevate by taking this hard stance. Now, on the other side, let's look at increasing the amount of money you're bringing in. You know about blockers, and you know that they can kind of sabotage, and they can do it right at the critical moment. Say just the wrong thing or do just the wrong thing, and that opportunity kind of evaporates in your hand. Your unconscious mind, whether you're aware of it or not, dictates your well-being, your health, and the successful results of your relationships, and obviously making money. In fact, we're going to talk at the end a little bit about unconscious performance limits, and that can dictate the amount of money that your unconscious says is safe and comfortable for you to make. Really quite remarkable. Oh, I'll tell this real quick story, and then we'll go into that more detail. I was self-employed I've been self-employed for 16 years now, and it was early on, and I went to my accountant, and he was doing the taxes, and he had this big computer screen, and he had the taxes up for the year he was working on for me, and then he had the last 2 years, prior years. Well, I was looking at the screen, and I thought, well, why is this? You have an error here? Do you have my current income up twice? He said, no, that was your last year income. I said, no way. It was within $50. So for anybody who's self-employed, you know your income and your expenses can fluctuate. So I had living proof that I had an unconscious performance limit running, which said that that was the amount of money that I would make and no more, no less. That was comfortable. And so with the unconscious performance limit exercises, you elevate that. You bump it up to where your unconscious feels more comfortable and it's more desirable to make money. I know it kind of sounds counterintuitive why our unconscious would cap money making, but it does. So there's a class that you get access to. It's about releasing emotional limits and identifying the amount of money that your unconscious is set to earn this year and significantly bumping it up. And you can do that process again and again and again. It works. It's effective. Let's see here. It's such great information, Ariana, getting so much value. Wonderful. Wonderful. And Ken, yes, reach for the sky. Amber, I'm going to a 3-day retreat to change my financial blueprint. Wonderful. Bring your blocker clearing processes, Amber, there, and then you will have radically more success than other students there because you'll know how to clear out those blockers and then apply the wonderful learning that you're getting from that event. Okay. So we're about to change up the kind of pain points in just a moment, but I do have a question. What area of your life would you like to transform? Rekindle love, support, and passion you had when you were first married? Or get some peace of mind and balance because life's stressing you and you're locked into things? Or you make more money? Or maybe you just want to be confident and comfortable in your own skin wherever you are. Now you now have some understanding why your attempts to change haven't been as easy as you hoped. You see now, hopefully, it's not your fault. It's not that you don't know enough. There's something wrong with you. It's just blockers, those self-defeating unconscious habits that have made it difficult for you to move forward at the speed you want. So let's talk about some positive things. Let's talk about how your unconscious mind influences your outcome. So, beach balls in the unconscious mind. Let's see, a little bit of everything. Thank you, Karen. I forgot to pause. Wow, I've been married almost 50 years. Wow, fabulous. Okay, Karen, it's a bit of everything. It's mainly the finances, self-sabotage blockers keep creeping, and I'm having that feast-famine with money. That's very common, Karen. Yeah, that there's just all this flowing in, and then there's nothing. And that's a really good sign that there's an unconscious performance limit running. And Daisy, want to make more money? And then Ken saying, I'm with you, Karen. I get that too. And Runa, yep, all of what you mentioned, yep. Well, the good thing is, Runa, that you can select an area to work on and get that moving into, the successfulness, and then you can pick the other area and the other area. Because once you learn the tools, the technology that the School of Self-Revolution brings, is you can apply it again and again and again. It's like almost like learning your math sums or learning a new language. You can apply it in many areas of your life. Have more fun. Yes. That's great, Julia. Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the hopeful part, there is one more thing, is how does your unconscious mind, how does it hold on and maintain blockers? Well, you can think about it like this. We all have blind spots. All a blind spot is a hidden weakness. Now, we're usually aware of our weaknesses, but blind spots are far more tender. This is where blockers love to live. We protect ourselves from scrutiny. We don't ask for help, so that blockers remain unchallenged. They cripple our effectiveness. Even where we know we need someone's input and we know that their insight could be helpful, we don't want the criticism. Makes sense, right? Where if we allowed our ego to just take a rest for a moment and say, hey, I'm working on this, can you give me some input? And they give some really insightful comments, just don't allow that blocker that gets activated by criticism. Well, imagine how much further we would all be if we allowed that kind of feedback that, could really further us. So these hidden weaknesses, sabotage, we've talked about that before. And if we don't bring it to the light of day, well, then it's not going to be questioned, is it? Now, I'm not saying that you want to have everybody pointing out, your weaknesses, not by any means. That's discouraging. But how about us doing it for ourselves? Why not? So how does this all relate to a beach ball? Well, one day I was thinking about this, and I was talking to a friend. You know how you've ever been in a pool and you're on a beach ball and you're pushing the beach ball down? And I remember once you stopped controlling the ball, pushing the ball down, it flew with all this energy out of the water. Well, blockers are like that. They express themselves with a power and intensity. I bet everybody else can see our own blockers, the blockers that are activating in us, because there's an intensity to it. Here's the thing, is that it takes a lot of energy to keep that beach ball pushed down. It takes a lot of energy to keep our worries out of sight, out of mind. And once you release the emotional energy by clearing the blocker, you now have access to all this energy to empower you to accomplish what you want to today. So what can happen is people start noticing that they have more energy after they've cleared blockers. They're sleeping better. They just feel better in their skin and they're liking life more. Because suppression is not the way. Sometimes we don't want to deal with something. It's not the true way to empowerment and personal development, because whatever we suppress, whether it's a worry, a fear, a self-doubt, it waits until the first sign of weakness. And then, just like this beach ball, it pops up. And I'm sure you've seen someone, like you're watching them and say, wow, they're overreacting a bit, aren't they? Like, have you ever been in a business meeting, you've seen this grown man, it's in the middle of a crucial part of the conversation, and he's not getting his way, and he stands up and he's pounding on the table, and, his face is getting all red, and you're looking like, oh my gosh, this person's just turned into a 2-year-old, right? That's just a blocker that got activated because the person was in fear that it's not going in the way they expected. So when a blocker is activated, we can lose our focus, lose confidence, lose our clarity, and definitely aren't performing at our best. And there's a common reason why people aren't successful at their objectives, because when a blocker takes charge and they don't know how to clear it, it got triggered, it's going to handle something in usually a not very effective way. And you lose access to your intuition, your creativity, your presence of mind. And it's really when we're in this grounded, centered place and we have access to the present moment, we can tap into unimaginable creativity and our intuition. But if we're worrying about the past, a conversation that we just had, or we're projecting what the future is going to bring, and we're going to be continually be stressed and there's no path in sight, we disconnect ourselves from that very powerful energy, that source energy that can accomplish things way faster than our little mini mind in here. And so removing the energy blockages so you can be present in the moment gives you increased access to your intelligence, your intuition. All right. Have more fun. Oh, yes, instantly. Inspired action. Yeah, me too. Karen, I like that term. Yep. And just to watch, how much you're getting done and how easy it is, and you're in your flow, and just life is happening, and that's how it's supposed to be. And it's such a joy to look back at your day and see all these little things you got done, and you've significantly moved your life forward. It's fabulous. I don't think there's anything better. Yeah, it is fun, definitely. Okay, so now we're shifting from frustration to joy. So no more talking about the niggly, irksome blockers. We're going to talk about some more uplifting things. Hella was one of my first coaching clients, and I remember the phone call so clearly, like it was yesterday. She said, I'm thinking of working with you, and this is what I want to accomplish. I'm down to my last dollars. I'm living in Canada, and I love Canada, and they're going to deport me to Denmark, and I hate Denmark. It was where a lot of not fun things happened in my life, and I need to make this happen. I want to get citizenship. So I remember, it's a good thing she couldn't see me, like, oh, wow, no one's ever done that, and wow, citizenship, great. So she spent her last dollars and did the work. And what she manifested to me is still really remarkable. She was offered an excellent job in the Danish embassy, and she ended up living in Northern California. She loved it. She was able to build a savings account, significant savings account for the first time. She was getting her income tax-free, and she made really good money. A few months later, she actually got her Canadian citizenship. Isn't that amazing? And now I spoke to her recently, or in communication via email. She's about to get her U.S. citizenship to come through. So would you say that kind of sounds nearly impossible? Yeah. Now, Hella is not remarkable in any way. She's just like you and me. But was she committed to her dream? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pain as a way of speaking. When they were going to deport her back to Denmark, she was like all on it. This is not happening. And sometimes that can work for us. We can say, this isn't happening. I am not going that way. Use that passion and that emotional energy to actually pour it into that which you want, your intention. Let me just check here in the chat bar. Yeah, amazing. It really is. Yeah, Julie, it is a great story. You understand because you live in Denmark. Sorry, Jose, I do not mean to put down Denmark. I've never been there. But for some people, they don't like it. So now we're going to look at where you might be, your manifesting is getting impacted. You're Spanish. Okay. Yeah. Can you? Wow. It is a wow story. It's one of my most favorite ones. Okay. So let's look now at where are you noticing yourself kind of getting taken off track? If we look at wish, you've got a dream, a desire. What do you want? And then you move to the intention. There's that word, Karen. You're reading the slides. Inspired action. And you're present, passionate, and you're just getting things done, and you're trusting your intuition. And then, you receive things. You actually receive that which you've intended to receive. You've accomplished your goal. You've successfully achieved your objective. So let's think back on the areas where we have covered. Do you notice maybe where your manifesting gets inhibited? Is it in the wishing part? Do you get stopped at being able to even know what you want, and you don't take the time to dream and plan? It's really sad. There are a lot of people who actually get stopped even at the wishing part. They don't know. And I think part of it is just they're kind of discouraged, down, a little depressed. And clearing some blockers will infuse them with that upliftment, that joy again, so they can start to have that playful, childlike wondering. I wonder, and what if, which is fabulous. Or maybe you get blocked in taking the right action, setting the intention, staying on track, trusting yourself. Okay, write that down, stuck in the wish part. It's very important to know that because those are where you're going to focus your energy and clear the blockers around that. Because if you're stuck in the wish and then you're beating yourself up because you're not taking inspired actions, that's cruel. You need to solve the wish blockages first. So maybe you notice you're blocked at the third column, the receiving column. This is where I was blocked a lot. I would attract wonderful opportunities, but they would never pan out. So, putting your intention out there is one thing. But when it floats in your life and you're not saying, yes, I want it, and taking it in, you're blocked in receiving. Very important. If you don't feel worthy of receiving your desires, that's where you're never going to hit your goal. So make note on your paper. And maybe you'd like to add it in the chat bar, which column you notice you're blocked in. Karen, I think self-belief or lack of sabotage is in the intention part. Good awareness, Karen. So that's where you would focus your energy. It looks so simple. Yeah, but I have troubles with, definitely it looks simple, doesn't it? That's why, one of the things about the law of attraction, it looks so simple and it uplifts our hope. But the reality is that we're not following through because of blockers. And that's why I think understanding blockers and how to clear them really is a missing link to this very natural process. Blocked in intention. Okay, yep. Making plans. Yeah, sometimes I have a little trouble with making plans too. Yep. Because sometimes just stepping back from the day-to-day, having a higher perspective about where you want to be, it helps at taking a little vacation, even if it's just a day vacation out in nature, and reconnect with your peaceful self can sometimes help with making plans. The receiving part, yep, Daisy. And I don't know, Daisy, is that how, am I saying it correctly? Are you a woman or a man? Because I do not mean to point, one or the other and have gender issues, but I do find a lot of females are blocked in the receiving part, which is why they could attract the love of their life and get married, and the man could be a real gem, but they won't allow him to take care of them and shower them with love. So receiving is a very important one to clear, to get really clear, and to allow your goodness, the goodness that life wants to give you, and your objectives to celebrate them. Enjoy your successes in your life. I had a little thing I used to do. I used to be very hard on myself. And if anyone has been watching it all or listening to the Mindful Manifesting radio show, you can see that on the School of Self-Revolution, is that I did a show on perfectionism. And I was so hard on myself thinking, well, if I just relaxed and I wasn't so hard on myself, I'd put out their shoddy work and I wouldn't be doing a good job. No. So I started to celebrate even my silliest little mistakes, that if I spilled a candle wax, and I'd say, oh, silly one, look, I spilled the candle. And I was very loving to myself because I'm aware at my thoughts. I can be very hard on myself, and that would just wake up those blockers. I don't need any more. Thank you very much. Hitesh, you agree. Women don't realize when a great man is right before their eyes. Absolutely. And sadly, if they get married to a woman who isn't willing to receive the love and the nurturing, the affection, their life's going to be really hard. They have to heal that part. You tend to be hard on yourself. Yeah, Amber. And I think, people who, nothing wrong with wanting to do really good work out there, but if we're so hard on ourselves, it's debilitating and it's discouraging, and we're not touching that joy part, that childlike play part, well, that's where it turns wonky and going the wrong way. So make note on your paper which column, you're noticing that your progress is being stopped. I'm good at procrastination at all levels, Francois. That's a good one. Yeah, I think we can all relate with procrastination. Often we do that when we don't have enough information or that we're fearful of the outcome, that we don't think we can do a good enough job, and it could just be a blocker running. I can relate for sure, Francois, I think is the way to say it. Corinne, it's hard to give up and depend on others when you always had to, oh my gosh, is that the truth? Sounds like a strong female for sure saying that. Yeah. And really, if you think about it, when we don't ask for others for help and support, it can really be part of our ego because we have to appear super competent, right? We can't make a mistake. And that's just the ego talking, which is the ego and blockers, they kind of run hand in hand. Whether we say, hey, I need help with this. I've got as far as I can, and I know that you can see things I can't see. Please. I had cleared a lot of blockers around that. I had a lot of trouble people giving me input. Let's see. Procrastination, a big one. Yeah, for me too. So too, Corinne. I was a single mom. You know what, Amber? I think that's part of it. I was a single mom too, and you have to be like super competent, right? And then you enter into a relationship after that. Well, you got some adjusting to do. And because those blockers of super competency, don't ask for help, don't feel vulnerable, don't let anybody in, they're all going to get active because as a single mom, the only one you had to rely on was yourself, and you're taking care of your little ones. Crystal, you too. Single mom, okay. All right, so let's now move on to the path to empowerment, your path. Hopefully you will find it's your path. Look at what you just wrote. Do you start to see where, what column your manifesting is getting messed with? Have you started to see maybe where some of the blockers are running? Like procrastination is a common one, being perfectionism is a common one. And would you like to know a way that you can know a path you can take to overcome the blockers and create a life on your terms? We're going to the solution, the fun part here. Great, Hitesh, yes. Yep. Super. So the first thing we have to do is really give ourselves permission. I said give yourself freedom, but I'd also like to add permission. Give yourself permission to fly high and create your dreams. Give yourself permission to be the creative director, the author of your screenplay, the leading lady or the leading man. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be the support to all the world. You can be the leading lady and the leading man. You can be a leader that others look up to and emulate. Imagine how fulfilling that would be. So if you're feeling there's something has to change, you're excited about it, and change is inevitable, and now you want to be in charge of the change. You don't want it just happening at you. Well, you got a choice. You can keep doing life the way you've been doing, Or you can say, hey, I need some support. Hey, I need to learn some new things. So it's trial and error versus a proven system. Well, we've got a proven system, and we'll talk about the success of it, this proven system, in just a moment. So highest potential. Here's our manifesting process. It is a really high level. If you want more details about our upcoming course in March, there's a website that you can go to and read if you're someone who likes a lot more understanding about what we're going to be doing. So I'd like you to get your paper out, please, a new paper, because this is the dream part. Put that blocker paper aside for a moment. Let's dream. It's not always easy, Ken, when our confidence gets knocked. But one of the things that when we clear blockers is we create an internal feedback loop, and so our confidence is not impacted by other people. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I was first in my own business, if someone rejected my offer, I would be really hard on myself. And my confidence took a nosedive. And so what I learned is to create, especially with confidence and self-acceptance, it's got to be an internal feedback loop. And so that helps a lot, because then you can be a bit more fearless. Your confidence gets affected by others, how others treat you. Yeah. So, again, that's a blocker, because it's who you are to yourself. And no one else really has a right, unless we give it to them, to discourage us, put us down, or impact our self-esteem. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'd like you to pick an area of your life, if you've got that paper there, where you want to experience a breakthrough or more success. So that's number one. That area of your life. Good. 2, write down how it currently feels. And I like to rate things. This is really useful. We do a lot of this in the School of Self-Revolution. Rate the level of fulfillment you're getting in this area right now. If it's totally undesirable, a 1, then write down a 1. And if it's a 10, it's super fulfilling, great, it's a 10. It's not likely it's going to be a 10. It's probably going to be somewhere in between, okay? So rate that. That's number 2. You're going to rate the level of fulfillment you're experiencing right now in that area. There's always room to grow, isn't there? And then 3, give yourself permission to be the director, screenwriter, and leading lady, man, or man, and just play with it. Now 4, I'd like you to imagine 3 months down the road, 90 days, what changes would you like to see happen? And you can add more to this after the webinar, but I just want to get you started, okay? What changes would you like to see happen in that area of your life that you feel kind of burdened with? Business, I need a kickstart. Ken, okay, great. Okay, super. So again, you can come back to this if you'd like to take more time. We're going to move on here. All right. So now, how to guide yourself to what you really want. You wrote something down, hopefully, and hopefully you've started to see an image of 3 months down the road of how you'd like to experience a breakthrough or have some success in that area. Karen, consistent income. All right, good. Okay. So we're winding back to you again. When we tell ourselves a story that says, oh, everything's okay, when we bury our hurts or losses, it really doesn't work. And you saw that with the beach ball, right? It wastes our energy to suppress it, and it makes us tired, and we can't use that energy, all that potency, to get what we want done today or manifest our dreams for tomorrow. So there is uplifting energy in having a vision and a dream, isn't there, and knowing what you want. There's uplifting energy. And that begins with you seeing and accepting the truth of where you are right now, and then deciding where you want to go, which we just started. Now, I'm not talking about using affirmations to have kind of this vision and say you already have it. Affirmations are good and effective to some degree. But when you're trying to make a big change, affirmations literally just bounce off. And again, that's one of the other radio shows I did when affirmations don't work. And there's this little cartoon characters on a trampoline, and it's just bouncing off. Like, An affirmation that some people could use is, I am wealthy beyond belief. I am beautiful and worthy of love. Well, we know if we've got blockers running, it's not likely that that's going to take root and implant those positive thoughts and feelings in the unconscious mind. The blocker is going to play like, what's that? There's a game where you kind of knock the ball out of the way. Air hockey, right? The blocker's going to come up and air hockey those affirmations away. And they're not going to get in. They're not going to change anything. What I'm talking about is permanent healing of our history. Erase the tapes. So through the highest potential manifesting process, your objectives become energizing and so enlightening that there is a certainty it will happen. You feel it, you see it, and you're just waiting the time. Anything that's away from certainty says there's a blocker running, and you'll know what to do with that. You know it's possible. You see it, you feel it, you can taste it, smell it, imagine it. Now, remember back to the last time you took a vacation. I don't know about if for you, but I know it's for me. I get so much done, super amounts done. I'm super excited about the trip. And that's the mindset you want to be in. Your trip is booked, your dream destination, you know where you're going, and you're excited about what's going to happen. We become so filled with what we want. We stay on this bridge here, and we keep walking step by step to the other side. And that takes management skills to stay on the bridge and not scoot back to the familiar. And it's not the skills we learned in school. Management skills of the unconscious mind, because it's literally guiding most of our day. It decides what to focus on, what to eat, who to be friends with, who to marry, how much money we'll make this year, decides our weight, decides our health, decides our peacefulness, and more. Would you like to know a way to manage your unconscious mind? What's in there and get it working on what you want, rather than this 2-year-old little recalcitrant child in there. Let's see here. I've used positive affirmations for years with my anxiety. It can be very helpful, Amber. Yes. Karen, you have to really believe your affirmations. There's no use saying I'm a millionaire if your unconscious says that's rubbish. Absolutely. Tasha, I agree. Amber, this will help more than affirmations, Karen. Yep. This is why I'm here, Karen. Thank you for inviting me. And then Corinne, yes, for sure. Okay. So I'd like to give you a working definition of magic, because some people have likened cybernetic transposition kind of like this little magic instruction. And not magic in a bad way. I'm talking about positive, supportive, connection with others, and just the synchronistic, like, ooh, that's a little bit of magic, that kind of thing. All right. No, here's a working definition of magic: to become consciously aware of and to be effectively directing your unconscious mind. That's how you cultivate a magical personality, where magic and synchronistic events happen. It's just a matter of course. You think about what you want and it happens. Life is meant to be like that. Anything else, says we got a blocker in charge. I'm hoping you're making some notes and you're getting some insights from the class today, and you're uplifted and feeling hopeful and excited. Finally, there's a path. Finally, there's a way to change some things. Oh, wow. Is that about magical? The magical definition, Karen? Because when I read that, it was a wow. I read a book. I said, that's it. That's it. Yeah. This is a great day, Amber. Yep. Wonderful. Okay. So let's get into some more detail about what the highest potential manifesting process is about. We're going to talk about building a success team. Now, I mentioned transforming hurts, things that happened in the past, failures, into success habits. This is the process that does it. You resolve past failures, quotes around it, because that's a lot of times how we learn, and you harmonize it with your past successes, and you build a team in your unconscious mind that's dedicated to you being wildly successful at your objectives. We'll go into more detail about what a success team is. We've all experienced failures, And it's really the big ones that lock up our energy, and there's fear of repeating it in there. Say, oh, we don't want to have that happen again. So for you to achieve what may now feel nearly impossible, we need to get you access to that energy that's been locked up trying to prevent failure. And when you activate your past successes, you celebrate them in a profound way, and you combine them with all the cleared blockers that cause those failed experiences, your unconscious mind and your conscious mind are literally rowing, right, in the same direction. And so your success team ensures this, that you're focusing and empowering you to stay on track with your vision. Imagine the power and what's possible for you to get done what you want to get done, what you want to manifest, when you've got all parts in harmony, working in a common purpose and same direction. Julia, you love your teams, your unconscious teams. Yep, wonderful. What if you didn't have successes? Well, Ganka, sometimes that's where I was when I first started with this. I could not come up with a success. I could come up with tons of failures, I had pages of those. That's basically a blocker. So we would work on that to remove what's not allowing you to see your successes. And you could have made the threshold up too high and have perfectionism blockers running. I'm not sure. But you have successes, guaranteed you do. And we would pull them out. Okay, so let's go on here to clear the blockers that come up. You glimpse what your life will be like. So again, we've talked about, erasing the tapes. We've talked about how burying our hurts and losses doesn't work. We're wasting our energy. And that energy never goes away. It just changes form. So we want to change it into uplifting energy, right? We want to reframe our past discouragements and failures and take all that stored energy that's been stuck there like heavy weights and put it into that which you want to manifest. And it allows you to focus on manifesting the outcome you want rather than holding on to what happened in the past and trying to prevent it. Prevention doesn't work over time. So what it feels like after a blocker clearing, and let me tell you, there's about 7 different methods. You learn how to reframe, you learn how to revise, you learn how to reproject into any area of your life where you now feel stuck, sad, angry, or frustrated. What it feels like after a blocker clearing. And if there are any, I know that Julia could probably share a wonderful story in the chat bar, and I can read that. But for me, a blocker clearing I feel lighter. I physically feel lighter on my feet. I've got a infusion of hope. I'm clear to proceed. I've got these ideas bubbling in. Creativity is just on tap. I feel confident. I feel very loving and compassionate, which is a great way to interact with others. A heart open, and you just want to help. You want to share. I'm more understanding to other people, and I feel like I've tapped in to more capabilities. Like, wow, how did I do that? That's a great idea. And, this creative source just is flowing. Now, I don't know if, let's see, any comments here? Imperfect, absolutely better than no action. I agree. You've cleared your perfectionist blockers, Ken. So true. I cleared so much from my childhood. Yeah. And that's where it lives, It lives because when we first experience anything, whether it's our first experience of the ocean or whether it's our first disappointing grade in school, the first time a teacher yells at us, that prints us very strongly. And the unconscious mind, if it's strong enough, says, we're not experiencing that again. And so it creates adaptations. And sometimes the adaptations are great. They help us. Sometimes they don't. Yes, it's true. I've recently cleared a blocker, and inspiration has been great. It's effortless, fabulous. And Julia, some of which you don't even remember. Right. Yep. Also, I've been very joyful. That's true. I was out shopping the other day, and it was kind of a rainy day. I like rain. Being in San Diego, it's unusual, so I celebrate rain. And I was connecting with the cashier, and I was thinking, how's your day going, And she said, oh, okay. Says, well, it looks like your day's going good. You're laughing. And I realized that's pretty much almost always there. There's a laughter and a joy present. Now, I'm not saying my life's perfect. No, not by any means. But I have a way to alter my mindset so that I feel connected to my inspiration and hope and joy and upliftment. And it's from that place I want to create. It's from that place I want to connect with you. You see joy. Yep. Hitesh in their videos. Beautiful. Yep. Karen's got her mojo back. Ken says, that's great. That's a good term, Ken. Mojo. Okay. So this is beautiful image. Working with your success team. Now, this temple of knowledge, would you like to have access to it? It's not outside of you. It's within you. In this way, it's within you. By accessing your unconscious mind, your success team becomes the primary connection point, helping you gain knowledge, skills, wisdom to accomplish your objectives, because all our minds are connected with other minds. So what somebody else has accomplished, you can accomplish through the unconscious mind. That may be too big for you to even grasp right now, but it is actually true. If you remember back to, I can't remember the man's name, somebody might remember, the person who ran the 4-minute mile for the first time. Before that, nobody was able to do it. Now there's a lot of people able to do it. So if you're working with a team, when one of you breaks through, that means others can break through. In a family, when one of you breaks through, it means the other family members can break through. We're all interconnected, and not just teams or family members, but with all of the human race. Roger Bannister, I knew Ken would come up with that. Thank you, Ken. Roger Bannister, yes. Okay. So as amazing as that might sound, because we're all connected, whatever knowledge or support you need to accomplish your objective can be framed and requested by your success team. Now, it may not help you know the lottery numbers, but it can help you with practical things like, oh, how should I respond to this email? How do I ask my boss for a higher pay rise? What's the right objective for me to work on? How do I get my child to clean his room? Or do I have any blockers running that are preventing the successful achievement of my objective? Practical things like that. And your success team can guide you in not only what objective you want to work on, but actually helping you make it happen. So, practicing your co-creator abilities. My intention is for you to experience this, to be the driver of your chariot. That's what we're talking about here. To be the one sitting in the director's seat, literally focusing on your endpoint success image, knowing yourself walking across that bridge, and it's going to be right there. This is how we bring our target into physical reality. You don't have to stay seated, though, in your director's seat 24 hours a day. You don't have to push. You don't have to hustle, because your unconscious mind's going to do that for you. It's going to stay focused on what you want, and it's just going to give you the tips along the way to make it happen. As you work on your objective, it's almost like there's times when you've fallen asleep and you wake up and maybe in the middle of the night and you've got this wonderful insight how to solve a problem. It's like that, but you'll have it on tap when you're connecting with your success team to solve those problems, not only hit and miss when you're sleeping and you wake up with that insight or in meditation. So when you're looking to accomplish something that may feel nearly impossible, you've never done it before, it takes single-minded focus. And when you combine that with self-empowerment, all of a sudden doubts are removed. It elevates your certainty that you will achieve your objective. You get in-the-moment messages and how to take action so it's successful. You recognize blockers before they stop you, like they have in the past. You say, you're not getting my mind and my attention. No, we're going to sit down right now and have a little chat, and you clear the blocker. Now, when you clear these blockers, not only does it help you be more successful in the objective you're working on right now, but it helps you in the next one, the next one, the next one, because those blockers that stopped you in this objective likely will stop you in the next one. So your next one's easier and easier and easier. Because I've been working with these processes for so long, sometimes all I have to do is write down what I want. And sometimes I don't even do that. I just think it, and it happens. So that's where I'd like to get you all to. If you think about the highest potential manifesting process and what you're learning with CT as training wheels, eventually the training wheels go and you're riding the bike. So what you think, you manifest. What you think, you cause. The good and the bad, though. So it takes a lot of self-responsibility because your mind becomes very powerful and you start to see the results of your mental process. Happens to me. You got to write it down. Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about erasing the tapes of history, cell-level memory clearings. Wow, I just realized our time went so fast. It's 11 o'clock. So I want to respect your time. We do have more things to go through. And if you'd like to stay, that'd be wonderful. The replay will be sent out, but I would like you to be able to stay to the end if you can. All right. You're in no hurry, Amber. Okay, wonderful. Now, if you do have to scoot, let me share a special link because you won't have access to it. No, I will. I'll send an invitation out because we are running a little over. Okay, all right. So cell-level memories, what those are, they're kind of, some people could say they're genetic. Some people can say that they came from childhood, and they're just really deeply held beliefs that are completely invisible to you. And this is where we see our suffering. This is where our pain bodies live and control the decisions of our life. This is where the beliefs that make up blockers live. Imagine that. So when you clear a cell-level memory, it's like you're pulling out a blocker plant that generates blockers and you're throwing it away. And so it's no longer whispering in your ear. Now, these are deep ones. These are the ones where you have weak boundaries and people take advantage. And these are ones where, like, conflict avoidance or things that people can't be trusted. I don't deserve love. Life's got to be hard. These are deep ones. And when you clear them, the power is enormous. So in the training, you learn how to build an uplift team, which works in the background, uplifting you emotionally and filling you with such well-being and fortification that no matter what's going on in your life, you stay uprooted, strong, and on track. Imagine your uplift team working on clearing cell-level memories without you even having to be involved. Works in the background. That's one of the things you learn how to build, an uplift team, an unconscious team. Can't wait, Stacy. Let's see. You joined late, Stacy. Welcome. The replay, you'll be able to watch the replay, and so you can watch the beginning part that you missed. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more detail, actually, about what you get. This is topic 7 in the highest potential curriculum for self-mastery. We're starting, our next training is March 25th, so just make note of that. It's a 19-week live webinar. It's usually on this kind of format, so you can ask questions, and during the training, you are unmuted. You can actually ask live questions and have dialogues with me. There's a lot of support. It's structured into 4 concrete modules designed for you to put into action what you're learning. So most people start to feel empowered within the very first few weeks. We do the classes on Saturday, actually at this time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific to 11, and I will give you everything I have on this subject. Every class I've taught has been a little bit different because I bring everything that I'm learning. I'm constantly growing and refining how I teach this, to how to make it a little easier for you to understand, how to make it faster for you. So we're going to go into a bit more detail on every one of the modules so you have an understanding of what we're going to be working on here. So Module 1, this is the foundation. So as I mentioned, as a failed student of using the law of attraction to manifest, and actually a failed student of CT really, because I didn't achieve my first successful objective for almost 2 years. I was determined to find out why I wasn't succeeding. And for anybody who's been a teacher, I think you may agree with me. Sometimes the best teachers are the ones who failed the most, because I was determined to figure out what I was doing wrong. Well, it took me about 5 years on focused on this problem. I know it's a lot of time, because I was setting objectives that weren't happening. And this is the secret that I found, and this is truly a secret for my life, and it is for you too, because the Module 1 is based on what I learned over these 5 years. I was setting objectives that were not aligned with what would be most fulfilling for me. I was setting my objectives from my brain shoulds, what I have to do, and it didn't make my heart sing with joy. That's not the way to succeed with using cybernetic transposition or law of attraction for that matter. Your heart, mind, body, and soul have to be aligned with your intentions. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And this, your true self is so important and so essential to be connected to achieve your objective. It's going to guide you in your day-to-day actions, how to stay true to yourself and in integrity, and it accesses this power and wisdom and guidance. So I'm going to talk a little bit about true self, because it might not be the definition that you're used to. So let's see here. So each class is Saturday, yes, for an hour and a half for 19 weeks. Yep. Takes time to achieve the impossible. Quotes around that one. Okay. So true self moments, let's talk about that. These are moments in life when you felt safe, secure, really cared for, most worthy, when loving and care flowed easily through you. That was your true self coming through. Unlike the voice in our heads that have worry and doubt, the voice of the true self really can be noticed in silent experiences, those moments that bring recognition, those moments where we know who we are, we know how life is supposed to feel. Doubt, confusion, worry, insecurity just drop away. In other words, the true self is a state of awareness. It's not a thing. It's not a mood. It's not a sensation or a feeling. The true self's always present. That's interesting timing, Bill. Hello, Bill, and welcome. Yes, the true self is always present. The only thing you need to do is recognize it. Bringing your true self forward naturally happens during the blocker resolution process. When we reframe our past, when we reframe how we thought about something from the place of our true self, all upset falls away. And it's replaced with love and peace. So instead of rehashing an argument in our head or worrying about what we should have said or done to avoid a problem, instead of those thoughts spinning around in your head, instead, you have certainty and upliftment. Quite amazing. I think that for me, this is what the cybernetic transposition process has brought that's been the most meaningful, is this connection and alignment with true self, because everything else flows from that. So, if you like to think about your true self, it's almost like a bridge between your brain and your unconscious mind. So that when you're in that strong, peaceful space in yourself, it means you have access to your true self and the skills and abilities and the wisdom and the love and the care that can make magical things happen for your life. That part that knows really what would be fulfilling for you and helps with the accomplishment. Okay, so let's go on to Module 2. Retrain your brain to succeed. Now that you've learned how to align with your true self, this module teaches a specifically proven method of accessing the dormant, latent power of your unconscious mind to teach you how to manifest short-term objectives. These are ones that are not the nearly impossible. These are objectives that could be simple, but you're just not doing it. This really helps overcome procrastination. And it helps you, for those of you who had that blockage in the receiving column, it helps you to effectively ask and receive, not only from people in your life, but from the universe. You learn how to turn inner contradictions. So like party wants this and a party doesn't. And you learn how to heal that, resolve it, so that there's congruence and that laser focus. And then module 3. This is where you're blasting through blocks to achieve the nearly impossible. Because if it were impossible, couldn't achieve it, right? You learn how to set these extremely desirable objectives. These are what we would call super achiever ones. So in the previous 2 modules, you learned the basics of aligning with your true self and the science of manifesting. In this one, you're learning to master your mental power and direct it to achieve objectives that are rated a 10 in difficulty. A 10 is pretty challenging, but you can achieve it with this particular objective setting process. Karen says, I have such a powerful memory of when I was completely connected to true self. Wonderful. That's a great start, Karen. Great. Beautiful. So now let's talk about Module 4. For those of you who are sensitive and easily affected by the moods of others, maybe you feel, lack of confidence when you feel rejected, or you're around someone who's depressed or negative and you take on that energy, this module will liberate and empower you. Scientific research has proven that negativity and anger has a destructive, depressive, and destabilizing impact on your manifesting abilities. Other people's negativity and anger can impact you as well. Their emotional energy can suppress your enthusiasm and affect your health and overall well-being, and it really seriously interferes with your ability to manifest what you desire. So you learn some self-protection strategies in here, but coming from a loving place. You don't have to take on someone's anger and depression to be loving. In fact, that's not loving at all, is it? It's just taking on yucky, toxic emotions. So now that we've covered the basics of the 4 modules, would you like to hear some real-world results? Karen, you're quite empathic. I know you are. When we spoke, I could feel that. Yep, and so am I. And I've learned a lot how to deal in a kind of harsh world and still be my joyful, loving self. Because one of the things, if someone's empathic, they're taking on toxic, negative emotions. It can really drag us down. You're going off at date night. Wonderful. Julia says, if anyone wants to chat to someone who's done this course, please find me on Facebook, Julia Elliott from Hawkrange. Thanks so much, Julia, for joining. It was wonderful for you to have you here. You just had a life coach tell you were empathic. Okay. This would probably be a life-changing module for you then. Okay, wonderful. Yes, Amber and Julia connect. Okay, so let's talk about here some real-world results. Julia doesn't get to hear the story I'm going to share about her. Well. Okay, so Bill, he's been through the highest potential curriculum several times now, and he says each time it amazes him. He's achieving more, bigger and bigger objectives and more connection with his true self. I added a little bit here. And not only did he double his sales the last time he went through the highest potential, he told me he cleared up a debilitating condition of psoriasis. Remember I was speaking about that it could help with health issues? I think it can. Tony's a beautiful, beautiful woman with several young children. When she came to me, she was actually in the process of finding a way to divorce her husband, and so she needed to make a living. Significant living. Now, this is probably one of the most beautiful success stories. Not only did she find a way to make a living, she's working in a family business now, is that she restored the love, the passion, and trust with her husband that she first had. They never got divorced. So 2 children are now not, single mom children. And there's Ralph. He had a volume increase in orders of about 25%. And he made at least, he said, I think, over $1,000 without even lifting a finger. And this is someone who had to really struggle to make a living. And then John Milton Fogg, he increased his income over 400%. But one of the things that he said made the most impact on his life is he's kissed fear, worry, and doubt away. And by the way, if you're into network marketing, or direct selling at all. John Milton Fogg wrote the book, The Greatest Networker in the World. Fabulous man, and he had wonderful results with these processes here. Yeah, it is amazing. I know the story of Tony. Oh, my gosh. I remember the moment it happened. I still get chills. Wow, it is fabulous. So, yes, we bring the best of ourselves and the worst of ourselves to relationships, and we have the potential to heal in that relationship, and Tony did. Okay, let's move on here. This one, Julia, unfortunately had to leave, but Julia just took the last highest potential, and she had a wonderful experience. She says, I'm never alone after learning how to connect easily with my true self, and actually having fun and being joyful now is her top goal. She started the program with, a need to make money, and yes, did she make money in the class as well? Absolutely. Meeting Ariana and completing one of her courses has been one of the top experiences of her life, and she said it's right up there with having a baby. I thought, wow, that's so beautiful. I can feel that too. And then one of the other things she said is she loved the analogy that I use to say focus. Really, it's best to solely focus on driving your own spaceship and to let others drive theirs. And what a relief, she says, it's improved her relationships radically. She's here to be happy, not save the world. She says, I feel more compassionate and loving towards myself. Words can't express how brilliant that is. I've released so much sadness. I've learned so many techniques to create my life, my reality, abundance, how I want. That fear is completely gone. I know. Way to go, Julia. And she's not here. We can't cheer her on. You've had the pleasure of meeting Julie. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Was it before or after the training, Karen? That'd be interesting. All right. So who the highest potential curriculum's for? Well, it's people who are open-hearted before, Karen. So it'd be interesting if you spoke to Julia now, after. So it's for people who are open-hearted, kind, and generous. They feel connected with their dream. They're motivated to see it into reality. They want to be independent and everything that means. They're good at follow-through and will do what it takes when they see the value. They've tried methods and systems, and it's gotten them so far, but their sense there's something holding them back, and they believe it's inside of them. They're ready to step up, take full responsibility for the outcome of their life, and are eager and willing to learn a new way. Who this training is not for? For people who believe that life's given them a raw deal. They've nearly given up on their dreams, and they need someone to keep talking them into following any positive change. They aren't motivated from the inside, but rather have to be forced to do things. That's not who this training is for. So now, let's get into what you get in the highest potential. Here's what you get in the program. 19 live interactive webinars, which normally are 90 minutes. I know we're going on longer here. You get 2 private sessions with me, and we can talk out your objective. I can help you clear blockers, and they're really valuable, these one-on-one sessions. And then you get PDFs of the webinars. So everything that you're seeing here, you'll get that before the class so you can make notes on it. Helps you anchor your learning and summarizes the lessons. You get detailed step-by-step instruction, PDFs as well, and weekly action items to put into practice what you're learning. And, there we go. Next one here. Okay. You have access to an online learning center to view the videos, the recordings like this one. You'll listen to audios. There's support audios there to reduce stress, get your focus back, and then we've got all the learning documents there. There's a private Facebook group. Nobody else can see it. You can ask questions of me, connect with others, and you can have accountability and support from a call partner. It's wonderful to have someone who's going through the process with you, and especially if you join with your significant other. I would not suggest they be your call partner, but you can share a powerful, transformative journey, and it's very bonding. You get a lot of support ebooks written by the developer of Cybernetic Transposition, things that are available in no other way, and they'll help you to anchor what you're learning and to remember how to do it long after the training. Okay, so now let's talk about some bonuses. as I mentioned at the beginning, there's a home study class that you get instant access for if you choose to enroll. It's Eliminate Emotional Limits. You could start working on your unconscious performance limit that's capped your income. You could start doing that this weekend. You get 2 group coaching sessions, and that's really valuable because somebody could be coming and say, I've got this blocker running around procrastination, and I help them clear the blocker, and you also get the benefit of that blocker clearing, being live in a group session and just sharing the process. It's fabulous. And then you get a True Self daily success journal, and that's something that you download on your computer and print it out and you write in it. And this is the thing that keeps me on track the most after I learned the core technology of CT. I focus my day and I practice self-gratitude. Wonderful little journal. You get that. And then you get to invite your live-in partner for free. So if you're in a marriage or a live-in, committed situation and you want them to join with you, it's basically you're getting that person, it's fabulous. It's a really good deal, $21.95 value for free. And then we do a wrap-up session 1 month after the course. We'll all check in. You can ask me questions, and I can support you and give you any, guidance that you need so you can continue on your way, setting deeply desirable objectives. All right. So now it's your turn. Don't let your blockers decide the course of your life. I don't say that lightly, really. I have in my own life had blockers who decided who I would marry. They decided the college degree that I would take. I'm not an accountant. That was my degree. They decided where I lived. You don't have to have that happen to you. You now have access to this technology. So if what I've spoken about resonates with you in any way, I ask you to pay attention to that. If you've been trying to make a change for longer than 3 months and you haven't succeeded, there's something in the way. Let's get it out of the way. There's a full, no-risk, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee, which means if after participating for 4 weeks you feel the program's not a fit for you and you've participated in the calls, you've done the assignments, you get a full refund. Now, the program cost is usually $2,197, but there's an early enrollment special for the next 7 days. It's only $19.97. You're saving $200, and you can do payment plan of just $425 a month. Now, while that special pricing is good, it's not your price. By signing up for the webinar, you get access to our lowest price ever. I've never had it this low. $15.97 is your tuition. Now, make note of this special URL, and I might put in the chat bar because it's nowhere to be found on the web. So you're going to have to access it here. And I will send it out in the replay email. So for those people who had to leave early. Note this price is valid only up to March 6th, midnight, Pacific Standard Time. So this gives you a little bit of time to think about it, sleep on it, and really feel, is this right for you to do? I want you in the class only if it's right for you. I'm not about pushing people across the finish line at all. You'll know if it's right. If you have felt yourself like internally saying, aha, and there's a lot of recognition to what I'm talking about, that means you're already on the path. And now you're going to have access to the techniques to accelerate where you want to go. So our last two things here is we're going to give time for questions in just a moment, but this is a quote that I really found was perfect. What you seek is seeking you, claim it. This was originally said by Rumi, a mystic poet. If you enroll now, especially over this weekend, you can get instant access to the enrollment bonuses and start getting started today. And so by the time we start in March 25th, you'll already be moving along speedily. Okay. So thank you all for staying with me, those of you who were able to. Topic 9, here's your blocker clearing gift, which I mentioned in the emails. And I'll put that here. So here is where you can actually walk through a blocker clearing process on your own in the privacy of your own home. and it's really straightforward, and it can help uplift you, give you some energy and clarity. So go there to get that, and I will stay on as long as you would like to ask questions. We'll unmute your lines, and I'd be happy to give you anything that you need to make a better decision, or anything that I've covered now that you have an insight and you'd like some more information. Everybody learns from your questions. There are no silly questions at all. Okay, so if you'd like to unmute your line, I think it's *6, or you click on it to unmute, or you can type it in the chat bar. Is it possible not to identify a blocker in the time tripping process? Now, Jose is asking a more detailed question. He's been a student of CT for a little while, and what time tripping is once you set your objective, you do this imaginary experience of just kind of looking in the future along the way and seeing what your life's going to be like as you progress on to successful achievement of your objective. So, Jose, the time tripping process may or may not show you blockers. It's really your success team that's going to tell you when you have a blocker running. So hopefully that answered your question there. Okay, I just saw that it's in listen-only mode, so it doesn't sound like somebody can ask a question. Apologies. So please just type it in the sidebar there. And while you're doing that, let me see if I can figure out how to unblock everybody.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay, so can somebody try to speak *6 if you're on the phone? Because I think I switched it off.
All attendees are muted. All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So if you're on the phone, *6 to unmute your line, or again, you can type it in the chat bar. And while we're waiting for other questions, here are a couple of questions some past students have asked. How much is the time commitment? Because you know there's an investment of time, and I really want to answer that for you. It's about 3.5 to 5 hours a week, and that includes you're listening to the webinar, and it includes doing the assignments. Now, if you have a lot of blockers running, those could take extra time. So, for example, some students go in and they really want to use the class to clear out a lot of their fears and their worries from their history, and they've got a lot of blockers. They could be spending more time, but that's absolutely your choice. And the live classes will be in the early hours of the morning for me in Perth, Australia. Will they be repeated? Okay. Stacy, the classes will be at this time, 9:30 Pacific to 11 Pacific, and I know that's very early. I've worked with people in Australia. It's early in the morning. They will be recorded, and they'll be put on the Learning Center within 24 hours. And what I've been told, I've had some people who, because of work schedule, they've never been able to get live on the classes, that the recordings are more than sufficient to go through all of the instructions and to be able to apply it. And then there's also the Facebook group that you can ask questions between the sessions and feel free to go into it in detail, and I'd be happy to answer it since you're not live. Let's see here. I'm very interested in CT. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amber. Thanks for your participation. Fabulous. Okay. There we are, the questions. One other question that some people ask, what's the success rate of the students? Now, this is the success rate. Now, for anyone who knows about statistics, you know that it's usually very specific how they calculate the rates. So for people who did most of the assignments, They attended the webinars. They cleared the majority of their blockers. They had built their success team, and they were actively engaged. About 90% success rate for their objectives. And that's pretty good, and that's from a group of about 100,000 people. So you can see how structured and rigorous the program is. Every piece of the program follows the steps to successful target setting, and you're given precise language and phrases of how to activate your unconscious mind so that it will support you in your manifesting. And when you use the right language, when you learn the language of the unconscious, and you apply the tools, it enables you to succeed in areas where you have not in the past. Trust the process, follow the steps, and know that they work. They've been tested. Okay, one last chance for questions, and then we'll wrap up. I think you can. Let's see. Did you try unmuting your line, *6?
Can you hear me?
There you go. Fabulous. Yes, I can. I'll drink a glass of water while you're talking.
Oh, hang on. I've just pulled up something on my screen. Never mind. Can you still hear me okay?
I can.
Good. Okay. I just wanted to really give a little bit of my experience. Now, obviously, I did the book back in, it was sort of March time last year, actually. And I had a really incredible level of success with it. And as I said in one of my comments before, I'm now experiencing this kind of feast-famine thing. And going forward, I want to create more of a reliable income. You know, I'm looking to create at least $10,000 a month so that I'm not worrying month to month as to where the money is going to be coming from. And, you know, I decided to try out one of your lower level courses. And what I really want to put across, if you haven't already picked up on this webinar, is just how wonderfully Ariana explains the whole process and how much you feel taken care of, I think, with how she teaches you. It's so much. The book was very complicated. There's a lot of text. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But the way Ariana explains things and puts things across, it's like it just all falls into place, and it's understandable and it's workable. You can do it. You know, you can absolutely put into practice what she teaches, and that's particularly what I loved about it. And it just made so much more sense than the book itself. And that's really what I wanted to say.
Wow, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. And you've had fabulous successes with the CT so far in generating money, and now you're experiencing more joy and upliftment. Wonderful. I love it.
Thank you. No, it's a wonderful experience. And it wasn't until I sort of looked back and realized that, as I said before, it's inspired action. So it doesn't feel like hard work because it's coming from a place of inspiration. You know, you get these ideas and you just start moving forward and opportunities start to appear to you. It's just incredible how it works.
That's what I find too, so I love it. An inspired action. That's a great term. All right, thank you so much, Karen. So we'll wrap up now, unless there are any other questions. Is there anything that I can answer? And you know, if something comes up, please feel free to email me, and I'm happy to help. All right. So thank you so much for joining. I really look forward to guiding you to your success. And remember that revolution begins with awareness, and all change begins within. Take action today. And thank you all for your wonderful comments. I've appreciated you coming here. And again, there's a link. And you've got 48 hours to grab our webinar special. And I do hope I get to see you March 25th. 9:30 to 11 Pacific time. Bye for now. Thank you, Linka.